Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's car buying day again, but for a change we're not going to England, just a short hop to the northeast corner of Brittany from where I live in central Brittany, about a 2.5 hour drive. I've been and bought a Ford Mark II Escort. I bought it sight unseen and I've just picked it up. I'm about halfway home and I'll give you a quick look around the car as I'm stopped here having a break. It's a 1976, it's a 1.1 GL, last on the road in 95. It's like a metallic-y brown colour, which I quite like. I don't think it's been washed since 1996 either. It's very, very dusty. That's the plush GL interior, and it's got 54,000 kilometres on the clock, which I think is going to be right. I can't believe how nice this car is. I've really lucked out, I think. There's really no rust at all, it's so solid. So, I'm told the engine's seized, so we'll see about that later. Let's get this beast home and get it running, I think. Right, it's time to see what we've got here. There is the mighty 1100 Crossflow. Big Tony that sold me the car told me it was seized, but it quite easily turns over. I've been right round. So it's not seized, everything's on there. Doesn't seem to be any bits missing. This top radiator hose is blown out, so I'm not sure what's gone on there. There's oil in it and it's clean, a little overfilled. There's some coolant sloshing around in there. So I think first step we'll get the airbox out the way, get the plugs out. Give it a squirt of oil down the cylinders and then we'll see if it rolls over on the starter. It's a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect it to have a big, looks like a big Weber on it to me for a 1.1 litre. That's the first two plugs. They look it looks fairly alright, to be honest. This one say it's number 3. It looks healthy. Number 4. Let's give it a squirt of oil. Okay, we've got the cylinders lubed, we've got the plugs back in. The other thing I've done, I've put an inline fuel filter just before the fuel pump, because if it sucks something from the tank, we don't know what state it will be in. We don't want to suck junk into the fuel pump in the car. We've got a charged battery. It's connected, nothing's caught fire yet. Let's see what we got here. We have ignition lights, we have some fuel even. So let's roll on this key, see what happens. Doesn't sound too bad. Maybe a bit low on compression. Next thing to see if we've got any spark. First thing I noticed, it started pulling fuel immediately from the tank. So rather than, and it looked clean, but obviously didn't smell good. So I've hooked up this tank with some fresh fuel, fuel filter, fuel pump, and the other thing I've done is I've joined a wire down directly on the starter so I can crank it from here. The key is on, and that is the king lead just next to the manifold, so we'll crank. Focus. Okay, we've got a bad battery connection. Okay, take two. You've got no spark. That's not really a surprise. Right, next thing, we have a look at the points. Top tip, if you muck around with old cars, get yourself a power probe. I'll show you what we got here on the points. They're actually closed at the moment. And if I touch on this side, I've got 12 volts, 14 volts because the charger's on. Can't see very well, but if I touch the other side, it's ground. So the electricity is not passing through the points. I can see in 2 seconds. Oh, they're smoking a bit now. We'll clean those up. Okay, they're cleaned up. My preferred method is to get a piece of either wet and dry or fine sandpaper. This is a 400 grit. Probably don't want to be much more coarse than that. Fold it in half, and when the points are shut, wedge it in between and wiggle it round, and that way you clean both sides at the same time. And now that they're cleaned up, you can test them just quickly by getting your power probe. And you can see there it's ground. You gently open the points, battery voltage, let them close, ground, little spark. And then you can see each time they shut, they're making a contact. Okay, I'll put the cap back on, do that same test again. There's the king lead from the coil. Key is on. Yes. Okay. Put that back in the distributor cap. Okay, we heard a tickle of life, so I've got a camera around so I can have both hands. See if this will be the first start of this car in 27 years. Keys on. can tell you straight away is definitely hasn't got much compression. I can hear that when it's turning over, there's not a whole lot there. And I can see a lot of blow-by already coming from the dipstick hole. So either the rings are just stuck from being stood, or it's been badly overheated at some stage, which could be a possibility because of this burst. Evidence of overheating with this burst hose, but the oil doesn't smell burnt like it usually does. It's been badly overheated. So I think the only thing really to do is try again. If it will start, maybe the rings will free off. We'll see. Oil pressure light's gone off anyway. She's a runner. Mechanically it sounds really sweet. It's not tapping or rattling. It's not smoking too much either, and the blow-by is reduced already. So I think the next step will I'll make a temporary repair on this radiator hose and see if we can run it for a bit longer. Well, I put some fresh fuel in the tank and joined the main fuel pipe back up. And I just filled the block up with water for now and got it outside, and it is idling away sweet as a nut. It sounds absolutely perfect. All the blow-by is gone. Hear it on the exhaust here. It is just purring away. Choke off now. Absolutely marvellous. So I think now it's warmed up a bit, I'll change the oil and I'll fix this coolant pipe, and I think we'll be ready for a test drive. Good morning. It's a new day here in Brittany. The sun is shining, it's a bit cold but it's warming up. Ran out of time yesterday. I've just got back to the car, and we'll do a little recap of where we are and see where we go forward. So yesterday we got the plugs out, got some oil down the cylinders, got the engine turning over. At that point we established it had no spark. That was rectified by cleaning up the points, and then we got some fresh fuel coming in. The fuel in the tank is changed now as well. Still running the filter on there, but there's actually no rubbish coming through, so that's good. Difficult to get it started because the rings were stuck and it had very little compression. But when it eventually got going and ran for a minute or two, the rings freed off and compression was restored, and it was starting and idling quite well. I've made a horrendous bodge on the coolant hose here so we can get a new one. And then yesterday it would start and idle just fine. As soon as you tried to give it any beans, misfire, splutter and die. First I thought that was a fueling issue or the stale fuel, but I established the fuel was clean, plenty going in. It actually sounded more like an ignition problem. That can be systematic of a bad condenser. This is actually the one that came out. I found another one from an old Pinto distributor I had lying around. So I've put that in there now. Let's see if it runs any better. Check. Right, sounds spot on now. Okay.
Oh look, there's some things in here. What is it? Ancient items. We've got some old parking tickets. Looks like an old tax disc from 92, 93.
Date on there?
Yeah, the year 92, 93, I think. And a parking ticket and a very retro parking meter in matching vinyl to allow you to park for free. And that's about it. A very rotten, corroded pair of 90s sunglasses.
70s sunglasses, I'd say.
Would you? Okay, I'm not going to wear them.
Are you ready for this test drive?
If you say so. I'm strapped in.
First drive in 27 years? Got heater, indicators, wipers, everything works. Okay, let's go.
Oh, even the light.
Touch feels okay. Some brakes. Not much further. That's 70 kilometres an hour there. And I tell you, it works. It feels great. Okay, we'll swing around. How do you like the Ford Experience?
It's very comfortable.
Temperature gauge is working. Heater's working. Fuel gauge. Washers. Even the washers work. Two-speed wipers. Okay, we'll call that a success then, shall we? Well, we didn't catch fire or break down, so we'll call that one a success. I think we might need a new radiator though. Well, I've given the car a quick clean out, and I do mean a quick hoover out and wipe off. The interior was quite grubby. I'm in no doubt now that this is a genuine 54,000 kilometre car. The dash top is perfect. There's no wear on the pedals or the carpet underneath. The seat is nice and tidy. They're not perfect, but they're nice. The rear seat is very nice. The headlining is absolutely spot on. The paint is lovely. It certainly needs a good polish, but it will come back fantastic. Very slight staining on the seat. I'll probably clean up. Just go in the boot as well. The original jack there, And the original spare looks like it's never been used. The boot floor is spotless. Another spare wheel is perfect as well. Clean as a whistle. I just quickly got a bit of polish out. This is the best angle. You can see the bit of bumper I polished there versus the bit I haven't. It comes back like brand new. And I've got a theory about this coolant hose that's swollen up here. I don't think it was from overheating. This thermostat housing and this hose was all filled with crystallised antifreeze. And I think where the antifreeze had crystallised and it was trapped in between the housing and the pipe, that caused it to swell and eventually go pop. The radiator is knackered, that we know. Give it a quick wipe off under here as well. It's just a survivor, this car. Those tyres are dated variously 86, 87. Obviously they need changing, but they look absolutely fine.